Mindy grew up believing her life would be like a movie.
I'm Sandy Bullock!
And it is. Just not the movie she thought it would be.
You guys want to see a great first date outfit?
Did your date with Elton John on New Year's Eve?
Mindy Kaling stars.
We finished at like 2 or 3 in the morning. You could just come over.
All right.
No, not with you.
Because I'm not.
No, you're great. At least not first date.
Sure.
Third date, a whole other story.
Really?
No.
The Mindy Project. Tuesdays this fall on Fox.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the hood, the shopping was over. Daddy done good. He'd gone to Best Buy, the great showroom floor. All this tech made him feel like a kid in a candy store. With low price guarantee, he knew he'd never pay higher.
Now he's home with the fam, enjoying eggnog by the fire.
You forgot Uncle Raymond. Would this be a hiccup?
No, I'm smart. I can order online and send Junior for in-store pickup.
Gifting was great this year. 'Twas a holiday triumph. Well done, good man. Now time for some pie-yumph.
Piumph? Some piumph? Another storybook ending from your ultimate holiday showroom with low price guarantee. Best Buy.
Sitcom, all ye faithful, a Christmas podcast special. Where for the 5th time I discuss 25 Christmas sitcom episodes. Please come and listen as we count down to Christmas. You should see Mr. Wilson, Tom Hanks, and Danny Thomas. Sherman Hemsley will return, and we head back to Springfield. We're definitely spending Christmas in Springfield.
Christmas!
Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's Tuesday, December 9th, which means for the 9th straight day in a row, I am here talking about Christmas sitcoms to you, the people of Earth, in what I call Sitcom, all ye faithful. Today, I watched a show that I was aware of for years, but never watched one episode. And I think for the first time this year, I watched a show where after the fact, I said I should go back and watch that series. Every other show was either old or a show I actually watch. The only other show that might have fallen into this category would be Just Shoot Me. And after watching that episode, I didn't feel that way. Although maybe Wings is one of those shows where I could go back and watch it one day. But today was one where not only did I think, oh, I should watch this show, I thought, you know what, this could be a fun show for my wife and I to watch, because I'm almost positive she never watched this either. I am talking about the Mindy Kaling starring series, The Mindy Project. And I was very surprised that this was all the way back in 2013. Like, I think of this as a very recent show, and I guess compared to most of the shows that I've been talking about this year, it is quote unquote recent. But this show ended in 2017. It started in 2012. This episode is 12 years old. So I was surprised that I'm watching something this old. I would, if you told me this was 2017, 2018, I think I would have believed it more. Not believed it more. I think I would have, I guess I would have believed it more. Like, just seeing this was from 2013 was surprising. I knew very little about this show. In fact, if you told me what is this show about, I would have said Mindy Kaling is a dentist and she has like an office filled with people. And after watching this episode, I said to myself, is Mindy Kaling a dentist? Like, I didn't know. Now, I'm coming into this. This is the second season. This is the 11th episode of the second season. So I completely watched this without seeing any other episode, without reading the premise. I just remember commercials for the show. And I was very wrong. Like, she's a doctor, but she is an OBGYN. In fact, I had to go look on the IMDb main page. It says, young OBGYN doctor balances her personal and professional life surrounded by quirky coworkers in a small office. And I had no idea that she was an OBGYN. In fact, and I didn't know who was a doctor, who was a nurse, but pretty much I know she's a doctor. She's in an office. I thought maybe she's the boss, but maybe not. Now I'm thinking maybe it's an office shared by multiple doctors, just a bunch of young, good-looking doctors in New York City. And it starred a bunch of people that I was familiar with. Obviously, Mindy, I'm mostly familiar with her as Kelly on The Office, and I know she had this show as well. But Ike Barinholtz is on it. I know him, like I knew he was in this. I've seen him in some movies. I know him mostly from coming on Howard Stern show. He's always been a funny guest, a good guest on that show. And then the fact that he was in the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions last year because he won the celebrity tournament, and he actually is a smart guy, but he plays goofy characters. And I'm a big fan of his brother, who I saw on shows like, was it Superstore first, and then I think he was on American Auto. Is that a very small, short-lived show that I thought was pretty funny too. Ed Weeks, I don't know if these guys are all playing doctors. I think he's a doctor too, but I was like, why do I know this guy? He was, right after this ended, he was on a short-lived show called LA to Vegas. It was 15 episodes, and 15 episodes that I quite enjoyed. It starred Dylan McDermott as a pilot, Captain Dave, and they just made this jump. They did this flight every day from New York from LA to Vegas, hence the name of the show, LA to Vegas. And people would just go and gamble. And it was the regular people on the flight. And I really enjoyed that show. And he was on it. And, he that's what I remember him from. Then there's, who else is it? There's a bunch of people that I recognized. Like even the other, maybe he's the main guy. Maybe he's the on again, off again, will they, won't they? Chris Messina. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I think maybe I know him from Argo. Beth Grant. I know her from Donnie Darko. Then there's a girl I did not recognize at all. A couple girls I didn't recognize. Adam Pally. I don't know. Maybe he plays another doctor. I know him from just like being in stuff. There was some weird time travel show that I thought was pretty funny that was on for like one season years ago. And I think he's like in the improv podcast world that I see out there. But what I wasn't expecting was Glenn Howerton, Dennis from Sunny in Philadelphia, who was on multiple episodes of the show. I had no idea that he would be in this or play a prominent role in this episode. Mark Duplass, who I first knew from The League, but has gone on to be like a writer, director, and like really like well appreciated movies. And I did not expect these people. Now I don't know if Mark Duplass is on like a few episodes here and there, but it's this office filled with people, a building filled with people, so you can have people coming and going, including a taxidermist played by Michael D. Cohen. Now, who the hell is that? Oh, he's Schwaz from Henry Danger. And I popped, I popped. I was like, that's I'm going to pull out the word, the wrestling term. I got excited. I was like, that's Schwaz. And he had one line, and it was very funny. Someone was showing pictures of his dog, and he looks at it, he goes, oh, because that would take a lot of sawdust to fill that. And they're like, oh yeah. He's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? The episode basically was Mindy Lahiri. Is that her last name? Anyway, Mindy. She is friendly with this guy, Cliff, played by Glenn Howerton, who they see each other on their commute all the time. And Glenn is complaining about his girlfriend and that they might break up. And Mindy obviously has a crush on this guy. So she decides to throw this entire Christmas party just to impress this guy and seduce this guy. She has this whole plan. And then at the end, they'll end up kissing. Like, she's going to sing Santa Baby. She's going to, basically try to make him jealous by talking to the best looking guy at the party. and then at the end she will kiss him. It doesn't exactly work out that way. And then one of the doctors we find, I didn't know this. I guess he had a food addiction, so he went off to a fat camp or a food camp. Another doctor decided he's trying to stop drinking, so they needed to be sober. Someone else is gluten-free, so they basically have to have a gluten-free, alcohol-free party. But Mindy needs alcohol to have a little the chutzpah, I can't think of the word, to have the guts to seduce this guy, and she wants to sing Santa Baby, so she makes an alcohol bra where she pours wine and it makes her bra bigger, but it gives her a bigger. Hear that New England accent come out? It makes her bra bigger, and she has a hose like those runners with their bags. They can drink the Camelbacks. So that's going on. Then the Dr. Danny, I guess that's his name. He's busy making a gingerbread house. And he's giving Mindy these terrible Secret Santa gifts throughout the whole thing. It starts off with Mindy all excited to be in New York City. I don't know how long she's been there, but all excited to have a New York City Christmas. She buys a tree. She can only afford a small one. She lugs it on her back through the subway. And when she gets to the office, they already have another tree. She throws it out. I think it was a fake tree. She's like, no. She whips it out. That's what made me think she's the boss of everybody, but maybe not. I don't know. So Glenn ends up coming to the party. Oh, she is in an elevator and she sees this guy who's upstairs. That's the Mark Duplass, who's a midwife. And I don't know, my first inkling was, were they dating? I don't think so. Maybe she just didn't want to seem like she was alone. And he's dating Maria Menounos as Maria Menounos. And I laughed the moment he goes, have you ever met Maria Menounos? Like the way he pronounced her last name, like he really gave it like some flair. I thought was really, it just made me laugh right away. Like I rewound it and watched that again. And that's when she said, I'm dating a lawyer in the building. Now come to find out later that Cliff is there to see her. And then the other guy goes, yeah, I guess she's dating a lawyer in the building. He's like, he's the lawyer, but I guess he's dating someone else because we're not dating. And so he leaves, but then he comes back later and he goes, I want to date you. And but what about that lawyer? She goes, I made him up. You're that lawyer. And then they kiss and it's great. But before that happens, Danny, who has been kind of giving her terrible gifts the whole time, he's been making a gingerbread house. And his big gift to her is he created this whole dance routine from this song that she used to play when they first got to the office. And he hated that song, but he did this whole dance routine and she really appreciated it. She goes to give him a hug. And then you see this little will they, won't they moment. But then boom, the door opens and the guy who's sober really needs to get to Mindy's booze bra so that he has the guts to go try to talk to Maria Menounos, who broke up with the other guy because Mindy got depressed, didn't sing Santa Baby when she noticed that Glenn Howerton wasn't there. So Maria Menounos picks up the microphone. She sings it. He got jealous. He broke up with her. Like, look, there's a lot happening in the show, but there were many moments where I smiled, many moments where I laughed out loud. At one point, like Ike Barinholtz, he plays a nurse in the building, and he's trying to, like, he's giving Mindy, like, really, like, pouring his heart out about things. Hot, there it is again, that accent. Pouring his heart out about all these, then I overcompensated his heart. Something personal, and she sees the Cliff come in and it goes quiet for a second and then it comes back and he's telling this long story. Like it was actually, I can't give it justice. I can't, but it was funny. And I realize now that this show is good. And even though it was on for multiple years, over 100 something episodes, obviously it had its fan base. For some reason, I feel like, did Mindy decide to end it? Like, was it one of these things where I thought I read somewhere where she decided to end the show. You know what? I went to look it up real quick and it talks about the ending, and I don't want to see the ending because maybe someday I'm actually going to watch this show. But I do know that it ended in 2017, and the only article I saw was from 2017. So I don't know if there's anything else that's going to come out of that. It's funny that she was on Sunday in Philadelphia, and I thought, was that around the same time? I don't think it was. But it could have been. I don't remember. But she has a show now that is pretty successful on, she's a showrunner and executive producer. I don't know if she's ever on it. That Running Point with, is it Kate Hudson on Netflix. That's supposed to be a pretty popular show where she runs a NBA team. So yeah, because what I remember, what impressed me about The Office was that some of the people that I didn't know were actually writers on the show, including Mindy. Like, she wrote a bunch of the episodes. So I always, like, it was the smaller characters who actually were, behind the scenes actually writing and creating the show, which I always thought was pretty cool. But I can't think of anything else that I need to talk about with the show. I laughed out loud. I laughed multiple times. I chuckled. And I thought, this is a show that I could watch and should watch. Plenty of people on there that were likable or that I like. Even if they're not likable, I like them and I enjoyed it. And it's almost like, well, now I want to know what happens between the two of them, but I need to go back and get there and start over all the way back on season 1 in the first place. So I am going to suggest to my wife and I that we watch this show, and we'll see if I can get her in. If it's like young people, there's some romance involved, and it's funny, it just might work. But if it doesn't work, blame her completely. I will give you her personal email address and you can write to her. Oh, and I almost forgot to talk about what was on television that evening way back in December 3rd, 2013, shows that I actually watched. Some of them. There's a ton of listings here, but I'm just going to do, of course, the major networks, starting with NBC, 3 shows that I have never seen an episode of: The Biggest Loser, The Voice. Maybe I've seen 5 minutes of The Voice, but I usually just wait to see at the end who's going to be the big star that changes the world in music. I'm still waiting. And Chicago Fire. The only thing I know about Chicago Fire, one of those Chicago shows, it's like at the last minute sometimes before I watch a different show on USA. Okay, maybe it's wrestling. That you'd see the end of that and be like, oh wow, that is some drama. Over on ABC, this had shows that I watched. Marvel's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of those rare shows that I completely gave up on. I don't know what year this is as far as like the season, but it's at a certain point I gave up on this show. And I actually wrote a blog about breaking up with a show. And it was this show. I said, I can't do it anymore. It is dumb. Followed by 9 o'clock, a show that a lot of people might have given up on at some point, but I stuck with it all the way to the end. The Goldbergs. Love that show. And I talked about with George Segal recently this month, followed by Trophy Wife. I've never seen an episode of that. And then a show that I absolutely can't stand at 10 o'clock on ABC Primetime, What Would You Do, with John Quiñones. My wife loves that. And I'm almost like, I can't even look. I hate the people acting that way and people being caught off guard and making people uncomfortable on purpose. It's like candid camera for dramatic situations. And usually, people do the right thing, I guess. I don't know, but I hate it. And I hate it. And I also hate it. Over on CBS, we have NCIS, followed by NCIS Los Angeles, followed by NCIS Person of Interest. Oh, wait, it was just called Person of Interest. Not Pinterest, Interest. I've never seen any of those shows, but I know of them. I think I know Person of Interest. I don't know. So that's what's over on CBS. Over on the CW, we had The Originals, which I believe was a prequel or a spinoff of The Vampire Diaries. And the only time I ever watched a moment of The Originals, I believe it's the show, is where a friend of my wife and I was in it. He was like a vampire in the background. I think he had fangs. And he I don't know if he does this anymore. For a little while, like they lived around here in Massachusetts, then they moved down to Atlanta, I think, or in somewhere in Georgia, because I know my wife went down to visit. And they might either still be there or in Florida, but he was getting into doing acting, and I saw him doing like these little indie like shorts and stuff. And all of a sudden he showed up on CW, The Originals. But that's about it. That's the only thing I watched from that. And at 9 o'clock, Supernatural, which I came too late. I came to thanks to Netflix DVDs, and then I watched it all the way to the end. Varying degrees of quality. I shouldn't say quality. It was always pretty good, but varying degrees of like excellence, maybe, I don't know, for a while there. For the first four few seasons of Supernatural, it was excellent. The mixture of the horror with the humor and the classic rock was like unlike anything else I'd seen on TV. The actual soundtrack really being a part of it. And then, of course, I think a lot of that's lost on streaming because they didn't have the rights. So if you own the DVDs, that's the way to enjoy Supernatural, which I think I had some on DVD, or either that, or I was the old days of getting the downloading it and then putting it onto a DVD because I thought that was cool. But that was over on the CW. Then we go to Fox, which is the channel of the evening. The first episode was Dads. That was a show with what the hell, Giovanni Ribisi and Seth Green. And I think it only lasted like so many episodes of one season. Brooklyn Nine-Nine has to be one of my favorite shows over the last decade plus. I love that show. I still love that show. When it moved to NBC, I was so happy that it was still alive. And it's one of those shows. It was one of the few shows where every week I looked forward to it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to watch this. Oh, I haven't watched this yet. No, that was like, all right, wait 5 minutes to let the DVR catch up and then watch it. I did not wait for streaming with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I would watch that evening, followed by a repeat of The New Girl. Not The New Girl, just New Girl, which I know my wife watched. Not originally, but like during one Christmas break on Netflix, she just watched it, but she was like going all over the place, not watching in order, which drives me crazy. Then at 9:30, The Mindy Project, this episode that I talked about today. And hopefully, because she liked The New Girl, again, just New Girl, hopefully that'll make her like The Mindy Project. The only other thing I wanted to mention is there was an episode of Sons of Anarchy that evening, which I definitely watched at some point. Oh, and a brand new episode of Snooki and JWoww. But I really don't go over those. I just wanted to mention Sons of Anarchy because at this point, like a lot of the shows that you watch regularly might be on those basic cable channels. But that's it. That's all that was going on December 3rd, 2013. So it's 2013. We are still we're living in an apartment at the time. And I think at this point, our dog was Clay. I believe that was our puppy that we had from 2013 to 2019. Well, puppy. He was already an older boy when we adopted him to 2019. Wow. It just seems like I'm looking at these shows. I'm going, oh, I watched this, not realizing that this is now 12 years ago. And the fact that the Mindy Project was 12 years ago, again, just kind of shocked me. I didn't realize it was that old, and 12 years goes by in a blink. But that's what was on TV that evening, Tuesday, December 3rd, 2013. We did it. We made it through another day of Sitcom, all ye faithful. I didn't even want to sing it there. And I'm recording this one super early. It's like before work right now that I'm doing this. So, awesome. I'm really proud of myself, Michael, for getting up and just saying, you know what, let's do this with some breakfast. I watched the Mindy Project with some breakfast and I liked it a lot. But I'll be back again tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I won't like the show as much. Maybe tomorrow will be a show that I've seen before. Maybe tomorrow will be a show that you don't even remember. Who knows? That's the magic of Sitcom, all ye faithful. You never know what's going to happen. There's only two rules. One, it's a sitcom. And two, it's about Christmas. And it's about time that I say goodbye to you, my friends. So I will be back tomorrow. But until then, thank you guys for listening and subscribing. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me everywhere at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike, because somebody swooped in and took Geek Mentality, and they took geekmentality.com from me. I let that go when I moved everything to fans.experts.com. I should have kept it and just redirected it, but someone took it. But I check every so often to try to steal it back if it ever goes back on the market. Anyway, so don't go to geekmentality.com. Go to fans.experts.com, or you can go to fans.experts on YouTube or fans.experts on Facebook. That is it. I am done. I need to start work now, but I will see you tomorrow, my friends. Until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe.
'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fast, not experts.